I'm reading this book. It's called The Gift of Fear by David De Becker. And I bought it a little while back, and I started to read it, but he's talking about intuition and how we can use our instincts to keep us safe from violence. So he's talking about how fear can be a good thing and keep us safe. So I was reading it. I started to read it a while back. I'm still in the first chapter. I put it down because the descriptives and it was just making me feel very uncomfortable, because it was kind of like scary. Like I'm a highly sensitive person, HSP. You may or may not have heard of that, but I have to be very careful with my surroundings, what I watch, the people that I surround myself with, because if it's negative energy, I'm taking it in and carrying it with me, and it makes me feel bad. So the book is fantastic. I just finished the first chapter, but I had to put it down because at the time I'm like, I don't want to read about this stuff because it's making me scared. But anyhow, I picked it back up recently. Something told me I want to check out this book. I want to read it. So, and I'm already really excited about it. The scary stuff, at least for the first chapter, is past, and he's talking about intuition, and he's talking about using our instincts to keep us safe, to know when we are actually in danger or not. And this is something that I personally am very strong in. I mean, I think that we all can be. And I'm going to relate this to the topics that I typically talk about: career direction and making the right hires, and then also guiding yourself where you want to be, how you want to feel in your life, and how you can use your instincts in all of those situations. And it's when we don't that we get ourselves into a world of pain. And in the book, of course, he's talking about dangerous situations. So I believe that, we're all born with intuition. It is innate. It is there to keep us safe, to keep us alive, to keep us protected. And so I don't want to necessarily say that my instincts are stronger than most, but I will say my instincts are super, super, super strong. And of course, just like all of us, the only times that I tend to get myself into trouble or painful, uncomfortable situations or down a path that is not the way I wanted to go is when I don't listen to my instincts. And I think that that's true for all of us. But back to my instincts being super strong, it's like I have an overactive fight or flight response. So in some situations that might just mildly irritate or maybe really irritate most people, for me, on the inside, I may not show it on the outside. I'm not perfect. But on the inside, I'm having this major fight or flight response where my heart will start racing, my underarms will start sweating, like I need to get away from this person. It could just be like a conversation that I don't like, and this starts happening inside of me. So I have to work to balance that. We don't want to like freak out all the time. And I used to, oh my gosh, but we don't need to talk about that. But this keeps me safe. So like I know, and he talks about in the book, in the first chapter, being able to virtually never be scared, live a life where you feel more free and where you don't feel afraid. And I don't feel afraid, because I know I can sense people's energy. Like there have been many times where I'll walk into a store, like a little bodega, one of the little corner shops in the city. And I remember one time specifically, I walked in and I didn't feel like I was in danger, but I felt weird energy. And I said to myself, there's something weird going on in here, or about to go on. There's weird energy in this store. And a moment later, this person started acting all nuts. And again, it wasn't like I was scared or anything, like I didn't feel like I was in danger, but they were nutty. And the checkout person and I looked at each other and I was like, So, and then another time I got on a subway cart, so you get on the subway, there's different carts you can get on, and instantly I'm like, there's some weird energy in here. And yeah, then some guy started like freaking out, yelling in my face, and there was clearly something going on there. And I felt uncomfortable. But I could sense it before. Okay, so he's talking about indicators of violence based on our intuition. And I'm not an expert to speak on that, but I'm going to now switch it to the topics that I speak on, where I feel like I am an expert in the recruiting and hiring process, and in the interview process, and in your career direction. So your emotions are there to guide you, and it is when we, like I mentioned before, when we don't listen to them, that we take ourselves in the wrong direction. So you ever have a time where an experience where you're talking with someone, and you just get like this sinking pit starts to grow in your stomach. Something in your heart drops in, something in your chest drops into your stomach, and it just is sitting there like, ugh. And then sometimes we ignore that. This is denying yourself, and this is why, one reason why what happens next is so painful, so uncomfortable, because you're denying yourself. It's like when you go forward with a job that you knew that there was something wrong there and you didn't want to go in that direction. Well, eventually you start to feel out of alignment. You start to feel like your life is missing something. You start to feel unhappy. You can even start to feel depressed. And it's because you're denying yourself what it is you truly want. And lots of different people in the world. We're all different. We all have different desires and different goals and different dreams. So there's no right or wrong for your dreams, for what it is you want in your career, for what it is you find fulfilling. And what you want to listen to guide you in the right direction for you personally is not what anybody else says you should do, or this sounds like a great opportunity, how could you not take that, these kinds of things. No, you want to listen to yourself. And I'll give you an example. When I was transitioning from medical sales I ended up going into recruiting, which ended up to being a really, really great choice. And I did that listening to my instincts. It was the riskiest because it was commission only, high risk, high reward. But I had done that kind of thing many times before, so I was okay with it. But I had interviewed for a tech sales job, and they were talking about how much money the top rep makes there. And I thought, well, I'm probably not going to be the top, but I could be like the middle or to the high, and that's a lot of money still. But then I'm like, I don't want to do that. There's nothing driving me. There's no excitement. I was listening to my instincts, and quickly after one interview or maybe two interviews, I said, okay, no, that's not the direction for me. So I'm really strong in listening to my instincts, and that keeps me going in the right direction, except for the areas in my life where I'm not yet where I want to be. And there's always more, goals are moving targets. So you move toward one, you reach it, or you start to reach it, and then a new one comes in, and that's great. But I'm talking about the areas where you feel bad, you feel unhappy, you feel consistently frustrated. I promise you, there was a moment where your instincts were telling you, don't pursue this. Whether it is a person and a relationship, whether it is an interview process, whether it is a career direction, whatever it is, something told you, and that something is you. And that's how powerful you are. This is how amazing your intuition is. When you lead with your intuition, even though there may be some fear there, like what if I don't get another opportunity? Maybe I should just take this one here. But something is telling you, your intuition is telling you not to do that. And like I always say, myself and likely many others, awareness creates change. Because once you are aware of the problem, of the actions that you're choosing and why, then you can start to take different actions. And I speak about this and I practice it, but I'm also learning new areas to practice this concept in my life, daily. And so there's always more to learn. So you don't want to beat yourself up. You don't want to judge yourself. You just want to learn. Like once you see, okay, and you can prove it to yourself. You can be, I like to say, your own science experiment. Look at the areas in your life, or pick one area that you're happy with your progress there. It feels like progress. You feel aligned. You feel fulfilled. You may not be all the way where you want to be yet. I mean, of course not. If you were, then you would be focusing on the next goal, and so then you wouldn't be where you want to be. It doesn't mean you can't be happy and enjoy, but as long as you're doing activities and surrounding yourself with people and fulfilling your talents and drivers in your career direction every day, at least part of the day, then you're going to feel good. You're going to feel happy. So in those areas, you can prove to yourself, well, you listen to your instincts, and yeah, there might have been some fear there. What if it doesn't work out? But you chose to maybe observe the fear, but choose your intuition, an action that is in alignment with your intuition. And where we get ourselves into trouble going down a path that is not what we wanted, or maybe we thought we wanted it, but then when we learned some more details, like sometimes in the interview process, if you're really paying attention, you're picking up on things that maybe don't quite feel right about that opportunity, but you keep pursuing it anyway out of fear that what you really want, may not come. Okay, so in the areas in your life where you're not where you want to be, you likely did not listen to your instincts, right? You had your intuition, and then you had some fear that came in, like, what if, I don't get a better opportunity or something like that. And so your instincts were guiding you. Go this way, this feels good, or go away from this feels bad. You denied yourself by ignoring your instincts in that area, and you instead chose an action that was not in accordance with what your instincts were telling you. And that led you to a bad place. It may be horrible, it may be a mild case of, not so good. But the great thing about this awareness is that once you become aware of your actions and why you are choosing them, you can choose different actions. So I'm super excited to continue reading this book, The Gift of Fear. I'll give a little shout out to my dad here. So I live in New York City. There's all kinds of, there's things happening everywhere that are not ideal, but I always feel very safe here. And that's because of my instincts. I know I can feel the energy. I know if I'm not safe, and then I just need to, get out of there. And so, yeah, my dad will always say, no, I don't have to worry about you because your instincts are really strong. And you can employ the same. You have the same instincts that I do. So your fight or flight response may not, kick in like, like mine does. Oh my gosh, like I'll be having a conversation with a stranger, and I'm, a little sidebar real quick, I'm very social. I like to engage. I'm friends with all the fruit guys on the street. So in Manhattan, there's fruit and vegetable carts. You can just go outside and get your fruits and veggies if you don't want to go to the store. And I like to talk to them. Like I win them all over, and if they're a little standoffish at first, then they end up talking to me later. And oh my gosh, one guy, he would keep me there for 20 minutes talking to me. I'm like, okay, this kind of backfired here. Anyhow, funny. But sometimes, so I engage with people. So I might be out, and then I'll engage with someone, and then I don't like where they're taking the conversation. It's either annoying me, or I'm finding it exhausting, or just making me uncomfortable. Inside, my heart will start racing. So fight or flight is kicking in, and I'm not in danger. I just don't want to be in this energy. So this is what happens for me. But I promise you, so you're, you may not start sweating profusely. I don't profusely, but anyhow, you may not have like a super strong fight or flight response when something isn't right for you, but you feel something. You feel a resistance, you feel a pause, and that is by design. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to say no and get out of that situation and maybe not move forward with the interview process, maybe cut that candidate from the interview process if you're a hiring manager versus a candidate. But you want to take note of that pause that is showing up for a reason. And then you want to dig deeper there. This means you need more information, okay? And you want to remind yourself to have an abundance mindset. This would be a topic for another video, that there are plenty of opportunities. Of course, the right one will find you, and you will find the right one. When you have that approach, when you have that mindset, we're not in a fear-based mindset where we're taking what we're settling for something that doesn't feel quite right. In the areas in your life where you're happy, you have an abundance mindset. In the areas in your life where you're not, and this is from my own personal experience, you are maybe settling or maybe not believing that you can have and or achieve. But you can switch that. But start with your intuition just by paying attention to the resistance when it shows up and digging deeper. And maybe check out this book. I'm still in chapter 1, but I'm excited to finish reading it. I'll probably do a couple more videos as I go here. Thanks for watching. If you got some value from the video, I invite you to like and subscribe to the channel. That will help me grow the channel. And I'll see you in the next one.